Reading, watching and learning from others is great and definitely something you should be doing in life. But that doesn't mean you should just blindly follow everything you see. It's super healthy to think outside of the box and do some self-experimentation on your own as well. And here are a few examples of some experiments that I personally found to be very rewarding over the course of my life. Number 1. Experiment with your physical exercise. Of course, the most important thing to do is to do some form of physical exercise, so good on you for moving your body. But even if you just exercise in order to feel good, there are still so many things you can experiment with here. What kind of exercise make you feel best? For example, for me, I have found that a combination of cardio and lifting in the gym makes me feel the best. However, what I've learned over the years is that I have to keep my heart rate pretty low during my cardio sessions, or else it doesn't take long until I become overtrained. I start getting tired, my testosterone levels drop, and I lose my libido. But since cardio really helps with my anxiety and depression, I still want to do it most days of the week. So if I keep my heart rate at around 130 beats per minute, I'll be fine. Now this is different for everyone, and that's why it's so good to experiment. Most of my friends can do much more cardio than me without becoming tired and overtrained. And as far as the gym goes, most training programs you see out there split your body into different muscle groups, having you train all your muscles either once, twice, or even 3 times a week. Now, it's not like there's anything wrong with these programs. In fact, many of them are great. But why do everyone assume that all of your muscles take the same amount of time to recover? Because for many people they do not, and definitely not for me. Let me explain. Over my life, I've tried almost every exercise program out there. And over the years, I have, for example, found that when I train all of my muscles once a week, my bench pressing progress rapidly. But my back and biceps grow almost nothing. On the other hand, if I up it to 2 times a week, my biceps and back starts growing fast, but then my bench pressing starts to suffer. Now, obviously, it depends on your intensity as well and whether you go to failure or not. But again, this is where experimentation is so good. And to make a long story short, now as a 46-year-old male, I have found that I get the best results if I train my shoulders, triceps and chest muscles once every 8th day and my back and biceps once every 4th day. And so now some of you say, but training once every 4th day doesn't fit exactly into a week of 7 days. Who cares? My muscles do not know what day of the week it is. The days rotate like this, but the point is that if you're willing to experiment instead of blindly following stuff you read, you will find what works best for you. Now, I already know that some of you may be thinking, there's no way in hell you can build your bench press strength by training it just once every 8th day. Well, again, not everyone can because we are all different, but for me it works. Now, I'm by no means a strong freak, but I can still do 10 reps with 120 kilos as a pretty lean guy, so I wouldn't consider myself a weakling either. Now, I could eat more and get even stronger than that, but then I'd have to get a bit heavier and that would come at the expense of my overall health, so I don't want that. This is something we learn by experimenting and playing around. And again, this training frequency is not a recommendation for you. My recommendation is that you should be willing to experiment. And by the way, I'm not saying that every man has to be strong. What I am saying is that everyone would benefit from being willing to experiment. Number 2, experiment with journaling. I think every man should be experimenting with writing things down. Let me explain. When you are writing things down, you are literally thinking on paper, and this helps to organize your thoughts. Now, I know that for many of you this sounds just like unnecessary BS, but I'm telling you guys, it is not. Journaling will actually make you a better thinker, even during the rest of the day when you are not writing. And here's the thing, it doesn't even matter that much what you are writing, just as long as you are writing things down. You could, for example, every evening write down the following day's tasks and perhaps also why it would be good to get them done. This will then work on your subconscious mind over the night, making you much more likely to actually do them the following day. Yes, there are even studies made on this, that the very act of writing your intentions down increases the likelihood of you getting them done. Another example, let's say you are trying to overcome an addiction and you are struggling with relapses. Well, then discipline yourself to journal about, for example, your relapses. You write down what you think made you relapse that day. What were all the steps that led up to that relapse? And what could you do next time when you are in a similar situation in order to prevent the same outcome? Write that down as well. If you make a habit out of doing this, you'll be amazed to see how fast you could start making progress. And of course, the same goes with setting and achieving goals in general. You should be writing down your goals as well, and then also journal about why you want to achieve those goals. I'm telling you guys, everyone should be experimenting with journaling like this, because by thinking on paper, you can really start seeing a huge jump in your week-to-week results. Number 3, experiment with going without fapping to porn for 90 days. This is something I think that every man should at least try once in his life. Now I know some of you freak out here and go, no way, I'll miss out on all the pleasure. But hey, this is just an experiment. And like the great Gary Wilson said, if you don't notice any benefits from doing this, well, you can always go back after those 90 days and make up for all the missed sessions later on. Okay, so let's say you do give it a try. My guess is that you'll experience some or several of the following things. You will start finding normal real-life girls much more attractive. You'll experience an increase in your energy levels. You might become more confident and less socially anxious. You might experience faster gains in the gym. You might experience an increase in your ability to focus and concentrate. And strangely enough, girls might start finding you more attractive as well. Now, I do know that sounds strange, but try it out for yourself and you might just see what I mean. I'm telling you guys. Now, if you succeed with those 90 days, and if any or even all of the above happens, then that should really tell you something, shouldn't it? On the other hand, if you try over and over again, but you cannot even go 2 weeks or even just 1 week, then oh man, that should also tell you something. Another thing I think every man would find interesting to experiment with is his natural testosterone production. Over the years, I have personally been between 250 and 1000 nanograms during different periods of my life, and the difference in how you can feel depending on your numbers can be nothing short of amazing. At one point in my life, I actually managed to 4x my own natural production just by implementing different natural tools, tactics and tricks. And since I've already made a detailed video about that, I'm not going to go into that right now. But if you're interested in discovering exactly what I did, you can see that video on the screen right here. Just click on that and it'll take you there. If you have already seen that video and you just like some recommendations on a good natural testosterone boosting supplement, then take a look at this video right here, as over there I'm doing a review of what I consider to be one of the best supplements for that.